Hello everyone, welcome to NerdChat. My name is Josh, and this is Rick, my co-host. I'm going to be telling him about more Superman American Alien.
So excited.
This is part 2 of a 3-part video, so if you have not seen the first part, make sure that there'll be a link in the description below. Make sure you go watch that one first, otherwise you won't know the references I'm making in this one.
And this is covering issues 3 and 4,
3 and 4, out of 7 total. The next part will be the rest of the other 3.
5, 6, and 7. The grand finale.
The grand finale. So, alright, so I talked to you a little bit about this comic the last time. I mentioned a few things. So, this starts out, Clark won a trip to the Bahamas. So, he's graduating high school. Apparently, he just, went through a breakup with Lana. So, Pete's like, yeah, this would be a good opportunity for you to, go and, just, get your mind clear of all of that. So, Clark, apparently, so he's actually flying back from the Bahamas. You find out later. I thought, it's not clear at the beginning whether he's going to or from. But anyways, it turns out that he actually went there and then just got right back on the plane and flew back home because he didn't want to be away from home. But you don't find that out till later. Okay. It's not really important whether I tell you that now or then. But so he's on his way back, right? And the plane starts to go down. Whatever happened, the propeller broke or whatever. So they're crashing into the ocean. And it's just a 2-person plane. So Superman, obviously, or Clark saves him and the pilot. So they get up above water and there's no land anywhere. But thankfully there's a yacht passing by, conveniently. So they swim over to the yacht and grab one of the ladders and they climb on up. And once they get up on top, there's a whole bunch of people on there having a party. They're just like, "Happy birthday!" What the okay? So Oliver Queen comes by. It's like, "Bruce, it's been so long. It's been ages since we've seen each other." You remember me, right, Oliver Queen? And Clark is just I'm not... What? So what everyone thinks is that plane crash was Bruce Wayne's, elaborate, over-the-top way of entering his own birthday party. So, this woman pulls Clark to the side, and she's like, "You, with me now." Who we find out is Barbara Minerva. Cheetah.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Long before that. But, yeah, it's her. So she pulls him to the side, and she's like, "Listen, no one has seen Bruce Wayne since he was 12 years old. No one knows what he looks like. And he's not going to be at this party, because he never comes to these parties. So why don't you just be Bruce Wayne? It's probably easier than whatever you're trying to be anyways." And she's like, "All right." And the next panel is Clark with a beer in his hand and riding the jet ski. He's like, "I'm Bruce Wayne!" So... he's partying, he's having all the time in the world, he's having all the fun in the world, just, on Bruce Wayne's yacht, having Bruce Wayne's birthday party. And he's in a hot tub, and he's hanging out with Oliver and a couple other people, and they're eating caviar with gold flakes in them. And he's like, "Yeah, you better," Oliver's like, "Yeah, you better enjoy them. They're $4,000 a bite." And Clark's like, "What?" Because he thinks he's back when I was at home, a friend of mine at school got hurt real bad in an accident, and the whole town pulled together to try to provide the funds for her surgery to make sure that she would be okay. And just one of these would pay for her surgery 3 times over. So that's when he's having his moments "Oh God, what am I doing? This is terrible. You people are bad people." So Clark meets up with Barbara again, and they have real talk for 3 hours about their futures and what they want to do with the rest of their lives. So they have their real talk, and they just talk about their futures and what they want to be. Clark's like, "I want to be a veterinarian," and that's what he's studying for, which obviously piques Barbara's interest because she's like, "Ooh, a veterinarian, you say?" Because she becomes a cheetah later. Yeah. She obviously has an interest in animals. And she's like, "I want to be an archaeologist," which is foreshadowing because that's how she becomes a cheetah. But after they have their real talk and they're at this for a couple hours, they proceed to go do the no pants dance in Bruce's bed.
That's one I didn't know about. Damn, Soup.
Yeah, and when they wake up, Barbara wakes up and she's so much just happened. So they go up to the roof of the yacht. It's night now. and they're just like looking up at the stars and they're talking more. And at like one point, Clark just like looks up at the sky and he's like, "You left me behind, but I'm happy now." He's just yelling up at the stars, and Barbara's like, "Are you having like a moment right now?" And he's like, "No, I just like I think I just like realized what I want to do." And he's like he's coming to a realization because he wanted to be a veterinarian, you know, a couple hours ago, but the experience he's had here is starting to make him realize, no, I don't. I want to go, like, he was always like stuck, like, I'm going to stay in Smallville and that's that. But then he hit it like a moment where he's like, no, I want to go on to do bigger things. I can do bigger things. So that's like, you know, the foreshadowing to like moving to Metropolis and becoming a reporter and starting his life there. However, so they're drinking champagne, right? Clark starts to feel a little bit woozy, which for Superman, that shouldn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, I don't know what's wrong. He's like, I'm going to go down to my room. So he goes down and like he's like just drunk, like walking through like everybody. And he's like, thinks that he's talking to Pete. Like he is completely out of his mind. Because none of these people are here. He's like trying to talk to Lana. Lana's obviously not here. Because it's, you know, it's just all these rich folks. So he's like, he finally gets to the room and Deathstroke is there. He's like, "Hello, Mr. Wayne." What's the Falcone?
Falcone.
Yeah, Falcone sends his regards. He's like, you probably are feeling a bit off right now. The neurotoxin that I put in your champagne should be killing you any second. And Superman's just like, it's a cool costume. So Deathstroke's like, how are you still standing? So he like goes like, fine, have it that way. He goes like, kill him with his swords. And the sword just like bends against Superman's arm. And he like hits him with the other one. And it tears up the shirt and everything. He's just like, you ruined Bruce Wayne's shirt. So like, yeah, like Clark like catches another sword and just snaps. He's like, sword broke now. And then he goes to Deathstroke and just flicks him with a finger. He flies like a mile away from the boat. Just, like through the wall and everything. So
Deathstroke was not ready.
No, he wasn't. He's like, what is he? What is this? It's so freaking funny. So it goes to, like, to the next morning and the boat is docked. He wasn't able to find Barbara because she's like, I don't like goodbye. So she's like up on top of the boat while Clark's down the pier. And he's like, why don't you come with me? And she's like, what? You know, they like have this moment like, no, it's not. It's not going to work between us. Whatever we got, but you know, like whatever. Maybe we'll meet each other again one day, which they will.
Because her ass is a super villain.
So they part ways and whatever. But Clark has the decision that he's going to, you know, try to like move to Metropolis and do something more with his life. So that's well, just about the end of the third issue, because at the very end of this, after all that stuff's done with Clark, it goes to Bruce Wayne, who's training with under Ra's al Ghul. Oh, no. And he's like, Mr. Wayne, I think that there's something you'd like to see. And he just pulls up the footage of Bruce's boat. And he's like, who is this?
The fuck is this guy?
So he just trained out to be Batman, and it's like he just found out that someone just like impersonated him at his own birthday party. So that leads us into issue 4. And issue 4, that starts. So Clark is in Metropolis now. He's on the phone with his mom. Like he gets out of his car, and he's used to being in just a small farm town, like where we're from, where you know. We grew up in a world where everyone could leave the doors unlocked, and that was fine. Mm-hmm. So Clark, not paying attention, he just like left his door open, and by the time he turns around, someone had driven off with his car. So he got his car stolen immediately. But he's right now, you know, he's starting his life in Metropolis to be a reporter and all that. So he goes to this conference that, or like this press conference that Oliver Queen is at. Because there's like this big meeting going on between Lex Luthor, Bruce Wayne, and Oliver Queen. Because they're like all like, you know, the next like generation that are running these businesses. So this is actually like right after Oliver has come back from the island. So he's had his thing, like he's probably about to start being Green Arrow. You don't see him be Green Arrow at all, but like he's talking about like they do talk about like he just came back from the island. Yeah. So he's like ready to like take a better approach at running his company.
The Age of Heroes is about to begin.
Yes. So after he gives his speech... Oh, sorry, actually. While he's giving his speech, Clark had never met Lois before. He has no idea what she looks like or anything. So he's like trying to listen in on the conference, the press conference, and this woman next to him starts talking, and he's like, and she says her name, and you're like, "You're Lois Lane?" And she's like, "Yeah, why are you so surprised?" Like, I honestly thought your name was Lewis Lane. I thought you were a guy. But after Oliver finishes his speech, he sees Clark and he's like, "Bruce!" Because that's as far as like what Bruce Wayne looks like them is what he knows. So he like goes and like puts his arm around Clark and he's like, "Come on, let's go to the meeting." He like drags Clark onto the helicopter to go to LexCorp. So as they're on the helicopter, Clark is just like, "All right, so like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you last time. I'm not Bruce Wayne." And Ollie's like, honestly, like, we were not a hard batch to fool. Like, it's honestly hilarious. So like, he's like totally cool with it, everything, whatever. But he's like, "So you're like learning to be a reporter or whatever." So yeah, like he gives him like a small interview about like, so he's like reformed. Like he just got back from the island, so he's like, "I'm trying to be more mature." And as he puts it, he's like, "I'm trying to be less." And then Clark's like, "Douchey." He's like, "Yeah." So he's like talking about like, "I'm trying to take a much more serious approach to running my company, and like I'm going to do everything right this time and all that." So they land, and then he introduces them to Lex, and like he's like, "Yeah, this is Clark Kent from the Daily Planet," which was a lie. Clark is a student right now. He does not work for the Planet. And so, like, Lex is, like, riding the elevator with him. It's just Clark and Lex. So this is the first time he meets Lex.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So they're just, like, riding the elevator, and he's trying to, like, give him, like, an exclusive quote until he finds out. Because, Lex uses, like, something, like, a word that Clark didn't understand. He's like, "Sorry, what was that?" He's like, "Sorry, where are you from again? Like, who do you work for?" It's like, "Oh, actually, I think that Mr. Queen was just trying to mess with you. I'm actually just a student. I don't work for the Daily Planet. I never said that I did." And Lex like clenches his fist, like, "Messing with me?" And so Lex turns around to give him like the most supervillain Lex monologue that he could. He's like, "Tell you what, I'm going to give you an exclusive quote anyway." And he just goes on this huge tangent about like how people don't matter, but Lex matters. He's like, "I matter. Like, I have the power and the ability to change the world and make a difference. Everyone thinks they matter, but no one's ever going to make a difference in the world. Everyone thinks they're special and wears an S on their chest." And it's just like, that was the most obvious thing that you could frickin' say. The S on your chest. But anyway, he goes on. He's just like, you can... People think they're special, and they shouldn't. Like, people as a whole are not special. There are individuals who are, and you can pick them out through history. But it's like all the stuff that you would expect Lex Luthor to say. So, and he's like, "You, Mr. Kent, are not special, but I am." So he's like, "That's your quote." He's like, "All right, well, thanks." And he's like, "It was nice to meet you." And then he drops him off at like a random floor. It was not a random floor. He dropped him off at the daycare in his building. So he like gets out, like sees all the kids and like the big daycare. And he's like, "Thanks, Lex." But this is where the comic took a turn I was so not ready for. So, well, it takes the first turn I was not ready for, and then it took another one later I was really not ready for. So, the Clark is walking out. He's about trying to walk his way out of the building. He's like, "I gotta find a staircase and figure my way out of here somehow." Clearly, he tried to like use the elevator again, and it wouldn't work. Lex locked him out of it. So he walks by, and you know how Clark, he walks different and like slouches and stuff, and he like adjusts his body so he doesn't look like Superman.
Yeah.
Because he isn't Superman yet, but he doesn't want to give up the ability that he's an alien with immense power.
Yeah.
So he slouches and he walks weird and everything, and this kid calls him out and is like, "Why are you walking that way? Like, you're at least 6'2" and 220 pounds, and you should, look this way, but you're walking different so that people don't notice." And he's like, he turns around and he looks, and they don't show this, but he uses his X-ray vision to look through the kid's pocket and sees his key card. And he's like, "You're Dick Grayson. You're Bruce Wayne's ward." And he's like, "Oh, how did you know that?"
Now how in the flying fuck?
So Dick's like, "Tell you what, if you can guess what else I have in my pockets, I will give you an exclusive interview." And Clark is just like in his mind like, "Exclusive interview with Dick Grayson? Like my first like real interview, the ward of Bruce Wayne?" "Yeah, absolutely." So he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do this." So Dick, it shows us this now from Dick's perspective, and he's like analyzing Clark in like every tier he can, because he's not Robin yet. He's trying to learn to be Robin. Because he says something in there about like, come on, Bruce is never going to take you out on the street with him unless if you can't figure this guy out, Bruce will never take you. So he's like trying to analyze him in like every piece, trying to figure out how he knew that the key card was in there. And he's like, you have $3.27 and like a packet of gum. And he like lists every single thing in his pockets. Like, you cheated. I don't know how, but you cheated. But
yeah,
the building, because he obviously just uses X-ray vision. So the building has like an arcade, and they like go down there and get pizza while he interviews him. Like, what's it like to live with Bruce Wayne? And he talks about like, I mean, it's great, but like it's homeschooled and kind of sucks. Like, I wish I had like more kids my age I was friends with. And he just talks about like how, I mean, like Bruce is great, and he doesn't not like he has any problems with him, but he just wishes that he had more of a social life than he does, and there's more that he wants to do. And then so at this point, the Batman is just a rumor.
Yeah.
So the Batman exists, like Bruce is being Batman, but the world isn't sure that he's real.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay.
He's an urban legend.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, so the people know that Batman is like a thing that people talk about, but it's just like, it's a
Which is kind of how he was for what, like the first year or two?
Yeah, this is like, I think he's only been Batman for like maybe 2 or 3 years at this point. And I don't think it says anywhere. Maybe I missed it. But, I mean, it's long enough for him to have Dick Grayson, but Dick Grayson is not Robin yet.
Yeah.
So, Dick is talking about how Batman, like, if he's real, I think that he says, like, I think that he represents the darkness inside of all of us, the darkness of everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that he needs, like, a counter to that, if that's the case. The darkness needs the light. And what Dick is actually talking about is himself. Like, he wants to be that light. He wants to be the beacon of hope.
Yeah.
But Superman takes it as, like, himself. Maybe he could be that hope.
Yeah.
And he makes a joke, so he's like, I think that the Batman needs a counterpoint. And Superman's like an Eagle Man? He's like, no, but like, I think that there needs to be someone that like brings that represents the light and the good.
The good in everyone's heart.
As opposed to the darkness and everything that's wrong. So he's like, well, thank you for the interview and all that. And they move on. And Clark goes outside and like he just starts dancing. He's like, oh yeah, who's bad? Who's bad? I got an interview. And he's like dancing around and like all excited. And a bunch of people in the street just look at him like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's like, I'm sorry. So then, so Clark goes back to his apartment. And he like gets inside. He's like about to start writing his article about everything that he just like went through today because he interviewed Oliver Queen. He interviewed Lex Luthor. He got to talk to the ward of Bruce Wayne all on the same day. He's like, this is gonna be a great like big break for me. So he starts to type in his computer, and his head just gets slammed into the table. And Batman is behind him. He's just like, who are you? How did you get on Bruce Wayne's yacht? Why is your birth certificate a forgery? What do you want with Dick Grayson? How did you beat Deathstroke? And Superman just turns around, grabs him by the shirt, and slams him into the wall. And he's like, what are you? So he tries like a smoke pellet, he tries like a taser, and like nothing affects Superman. So Superman just rips off Batman's cowl. He's like, I'm just trying to think of what's the better article title. Or what's a better headline. Batman is real, or Bruce Wayne is Batman.
I love it.
I was so not ready.
Man, that always happens though. Like every time Bruce and Superman fight, like right off at the beginning, Bruce is never ready.
No, God, it was so good. So Bruce, like he doesn't have his cowl on or anything anymore, and he just lets off like a flashbang. Blind Superman, he gets away, and then Superman's just like holding Batman's cape and cowl now, and he has a voicemail from Lois Lane. And she found out about all the interviews that he got today, and she's like, we should collaborate. If you want to take this business seriously, if you really want to be a reporter, now's the time. If I were you, I would jump at this opportunity because there could be a real future for you in this. If you want to do something like this, if you want to become a reporter, don't start small. If you're going to do anything, do something big. And the whole time, he's looking at the cowl, thinking about, I'm going to do something big. And he puts on the cape. because that's when his decision is like, yeah, I'm going to be a hero. However, not the one that we think he is going to be. Because remember that comment earlier that you said to Dick Grayson? The title of the next issue is Eagle
Man. No way.
So yeah, that's where that is.
Eagle Man.
So we have Eagle Man, the Man of Steel, coming up, apparently. So, yeah, that's as far as I've read. I don't know what happens next. But yeah, this comic is so good.
Man, I can't wait till we're done. I want to read that shit.
Yeah, dude, like when Batman showed up, God, I just busted out laughing.
How you beat Deathstroke?
Why were you birth certificate of forgery?
How'd you get on Bruce Wayne's yacht?
Oh, it was so good. So yeah, that's that. So we will be back next week with parts 5, 6, or part 3 for issues 5, 6, and 7, and I'm very looking forward to reading them because I haven't read them yet.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I had only read issues 1 through 3 before we started this. So yeah, that's really good. If you guys want to, make sure you stick around to get those. Press the subscribe button. They'll be showing up right about now. And you can check out some other videos that we have up on the screen. And we're going to be doing more videos just like this one with some... we got Star Wars next.
We got Star Wars Infinities, A New Hope, but it is a fractured timeline, and it is totally fucked.
Cool. So yeah, you have that to look forward to. So please, stick around, check out more stuff from our channel, and stay tuned for the rest of those videos. All right, thanks. Bye.
Go!